we've had Travis Scott, Jamie Foxx, and all kinds of really great names show up impromptu. A lot of people would have to have risked a lot, spent a lot of money on those artists. What am I doing here? I'm not going to scale. I'm not going to grow. And then on the creator side, like there were so many challenges, not only what I was experiencing as an agency, but so much feedback I knew that could improve if we streamlined things.
If you have ever wondered what it truly takes to run large-scale events, pitch yourself for major opportunities, and land huge brand sponsors, all while juggling it all, Olivia Ormos has been creating cultural moments for over a decade. She went on to build her agency OO & Co. and now is the founder of mavn, a tech platform that's already changing the way brands and creators work together forever. Olivia is the force behind the scenes of viral campaigns, iconic events, and partnerships that actually convert. And in this episode, she's pulling back the curtain on all of it. We'll dive into those bold moves, from pitching powerfully to building teams, protecting your energy while building an empire. So if you're building something bigger than just content, this one is for you. Let's dive in. Olivia Ormos, welcome to
Thank you.
Unstoppable Success.
I mean, what a great name for a podcast. It just like already starts the tone. You're like, I'm where I'm supposed to be.
No, and I am so excited to chat with you because you are behind so many unstoppable events, influences. You have such an incredible story and journey. So I want to dive into all of it and get all the tips on everything.
Yeah. Where are we starting today, Jess?
So where I always start is I'm done with this narrative of we need to be humble. We need to downplay our success. I want to hear your most unhumble brag. I feel like as women, we need to toot our own horns. We need to be obnoxious about it a little bit. So,
you're right. It is a lot easier when you're in a room and someone else like cheerleads for you and says like, you have to meet my friend Jess, and she has a book and she has a podcast and she has all these things. Like, it's a lot easier. I think it naturally becomes a little uncomfortable when you're bragging about yourself because it's just like, oh, this girl's so full of herself.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, that's interesting perspective,
Yes,
but
I
I'll
want
try
to
my
change
best.
the script on that. So this is your space, own it, and we're here to celebrate.
Okay, cool. So I guess you want me to start from the beginning here and give you like the overview, or?
Give me like a hot take on something you're just like, damn, I did that.
Well, I would say one thing was I started an event called Model Volleyball.
Mm-hmm.
If you're from Miami and you're like in a cultural scene with like modeling and events and things that happen here, we're one of the longest standing events that have happened on Miami Beach. So we just celebrated our 15th year here in Miami. And it's an interesting concept, and it's a one of a kind concept. So nowhere else in the whole world do you see 15 modeling agencies like getting together and for a great cause, but also competing, you know, in this beach volleyball tournament that's open to the public. There's 20,000 plus people that come every year for over the course of the weekend. So I'd say that that's something I'm very proud of, just because it's created so many memories. And I think for events these days, like sometimes it's just so cookie cutter and there's like, you don't feel anything when you're at these events. So we've managed to create something really long-standing that people look forward to, they fly in for. So yeah, I'd say model volleyball is my brag right now.
Well, you started that when you were 19?
No, I'm 40 now. I think I started it was 15 years ago, so yeah, I was 25.
Yeah. So you started that when most people are out there partying, drinking, not having any clue what they want to do with their life. What on earth made you just decide, you know what, let me start this major event? Did you ever think it would be this 15-year?
No, I didn't. You know, I think what made me start it, I played volleyball. So it was a sport that I genuinely already loved taking part in. And as a high school student, I participated like in a ton of stuff with events, but Ocean Drive magazine had an event called Volleypalooza. And it was a different era. It was spectacular. It was like, you know, the hot chicks rollerblading on the South Beach era that, you know, sometimes you could kind of look back and see. And they had a great run, but it was a different era of like, there was no social media. There was like a different world when it came to the modeling landscape, but I attended it. And then when they sold the magazine, nobody produced Volleypalooza for a long time. So my partners and I got together, went to Ocean Drive magazine and said, hey guys, like, should we do this? Let's bring it back. They weren't in a place to revive it. So we started our own version of that called Model Volleyball, and just kind of made it our own recipe and formula as the world of, media took us.
Yeah. Okay. I want to dive into a little bit of the inner workings of these larger scale events. Obviously, you work with a lot of big brands on building out their events. What is the business model behind it? Because events are expensive.
They are.
How do you kind of monetize the events? What kind of income streams do you have with whether it's model volleyball or
something
brands
else?
you work
Yeah.
with?
So I think what was exciting for me was because model volleyball was mine and it was my first kind of staple event that I was growing, it in tandem worked very well with my marketing agency. So each of them anchored one another and supported one another. So somebody might have sponsored model volleyball and then become a client of Mars year round, hiring us to do different events.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, I think twofold. Model volleyball, we monetize. It's interesting because I've never sold a ticket to model volleyball. It's always been a free and open to the public event. So we couldn't sell massive amounts of tickets the way we've positioned that. So it's predominantly sponsorship. We also get a ton of support from the city of Miami Beach. They have a visitors bureau that gives events grants. So a lot of people don't even know that you can go and apply for a grant. It's a reimbursement grant, so you got to spend the money and choose between if you're spending it on production, marketing, public relations, or whatnot.
Yeah.
So that is an income stream for us. That's technically a grant. We sell bottle service on site. Drinks and food on site, and that is the revenue streams that come from model volleyball.
Yeah.
And we have been profitable for 15 years.
Incredible.
Thankfully, we've never lost money
Yeah.
on that one.
Which is huge. I mean, I see people running events, whether they're small scale events, big scale events, and running them at a loss. And sometimes that's because they didn't sell enough tickets or underestimated cost.
Every year we took small risks. We never took like massive risks. So I think it was something that people really wanted to become a part of. So it made it easier. Like we've had Travis Scott and we've had Jamie Foxx and all kinds of really great names show up impromptu, surprise, perform, where I think a lot of people would have to have risked a lot, spent a lot of money on those artists. And then maybe that would have taken them into the negative. So for us, we just really just tried to keep it all about the event is the celebrity and what will people want to connect with on site. Even when we have our sponsor conversations, someone's cutting a check for X amount of thousands of dollars, we'll say, hey, like, how are you making an impact here by spending this money? So we try to make sure we help them with as much as possible so that they actually come back and continue the sponsor.
Okay. How do you work with brands or even with model volleyball to create these events that actually connect? Like you said, you've been to so many events and you're like, I don't even know what the point of that was.
Yeah, I think, and this is a good transition to mavn, the company that I founded that is my priority now in addition to model volleyball, but volleyball is once a year. So we start planning that about 6 to 8 months out. But with mavn, that has been top of mind. So everything we've done has been very intentional when it comes to experiential. I want to make sure that that seat that you're sitting in, Jess, if you're at my table, it was meant for you.
Yeah,
we are big on customization. We're big on how are we curating this so that somebody wants to post about them being there versus being like, oh, don't forget to post. Like we don't ever want to say that, right? Like we want to give you enough ammo when you're in the room with us and enough exciting things that just feel like, wow, this was so special. This was so fun. I met this great person. Maybe it's a selfie of you and you're a new friend. Maybe it is the tablescape and the, customization of sorts that we gave you. But I think overall it's how are you putting really special people together that create a vibe, not just creating a vibe and hoping for the best.
Yeah. How do you do that in a bigger, larger scale event?
I mean, we've done everything from a large event at Madison Square Garden where I've taken over the arena and done the whole thing to a 10-person dinner party. And I think it varies, right? So like what's going to impress somebody at an MSG level event and what's going to impress somebody on a small scale, it's just multiple strategies that I think come to play for us. But events are tough and they're very ambitious and they're very risky, but you kind of just have to, I guess, like you say, like unstoppable type of mentality and say like, okay, this leaves a bigger room for growth and networking and business development for myself. It's like investing in a podcast, you have to book the people, you have to book the studio, you have to take time to think about what you're going to research. Like there's so many things that I think in every industry, people just don't realize you're
Yeah.
You're not only spending money, you're spending time, not just money when you're doing events.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about Maven. So, what sparked the idea behind starting this incredible tech platform that's changing the way, obviously, influencers work with brands?
Yes. While building volleyball, I had a marketing agency.
Yeah.
Same time in parallel. And the agency was very early to influencer marketing. I managed influencers 10 years ago. So I believed in what is happening now more than ever. And I've been on all sides. So I've managed the influencers. I've worked with the brands. I've been in a position being asked to be the one that posts. So there was a clear demand for what we were doing. And kind of this post-COVID, all we saw was people calling like, we need an influencer for this, we need a model for this, whether it was a restaurant or whether it was an event that needed people to come in lieu of maybe hiring a promoter. So there was so many different requests for influencers. And here I was doing everything manually. So we were upkeeping our database on Google Docs and then had 1,000,001 tabs, where you were living, what kind of creator, all your links, all your things. Then I'd book you for the job. I'm sending you DocuSigns to sign. Then you're saying, okay, great. Like, here's my invoice. Here's my W-9. Now you're emailing that to me. Then you're submitting your content. Maybe I'm getting that in a Dropbox. Maybe I'm getting that in a Google Drive. And then it's like, we're back and forth. And by now we're probably in some fancy WhatsApp chat because it's just easier than going back and forth on email 1,000,001 times on changes or feedback. Then I'm asking you to screenshot your content. So all of those steps just became like, what am I doing here? I'm not going to scale. I'm not going to grow. And then on the creator side, like there were so many challenges, not only what I was experiencing as an agency, but so much feedback I knew that could improve if we streamlined things. So that was the inspiration. Saying, okay, like let's build a platform that actually works. Our value prop is quality over quantity. So our creators are applying to the platform. This isn't like a sign up now, you have all these bots, hope for the best, and then we just trust that you're going to be a professional. So there's so many different layers to it, but predominantly we're here to solve all the pain points on both the creators' home front, the brands, and the agencies.
Yeah. What do you look for when you say quality? Like what makes an influencer or a creative stand out?
So we actually don't care about followers.
Yeah.
It's like the obvious where people are like, oh my God, I've declined somebody with 10 million followers.
Yeah.
Because our tech pulls the data associated with their profile.
Yeah.
So I can see how many of their followers are real, how many are not, what percentage of influencers follow them. I can see if their followers are all in a random country and then, maybe that's not the best fit for us. We can see what languages they speak, everything. So I think first and foremost, we look at that to say, okay, is this person like really dedicated and does the data show that they're for real? I think that's number one. Number two, we look at mutuals. So did somebody that's already in our network refer them? Which makes that easier. When we're looking at the content itself, we look to see like, is the quality of content there? Like, is there something different happening? Is there a creative component? Are they trying? Maybe their engagement isn't through the roof, but like, wow, this is somebody that we should know is going to move up. So that person could have 10,000 followers. It doesn't matter, 5,000 followers. We've accepted all of those types of people. And then the last is, are you simply a user-generated content creator and not an influencer? Are you somebody that can create amazing content on behalf of brands, but it's not even meant to live on your page? It's meant to be commissioned for the brands.
So you bring on people who do UGC or no, you don't?
We do.
Oh, you do?
We do. And it's a popular category. We get requests from brands on all the time. So I'd say like those are kind of like our most important filters that we look for. And then lastly would probably be like geographically. So if somebody's in Peru and we're not in Peru yet, I would hate to bring them in too early and then not have enough opportunity for somebody, and then they forget about us and probably don't open the app again.
Yeah, for sure. And then from the brand side, do you also filter the brands?
We do.
Yeah.
There's many times where we push back and say like, that's not a fit for our creators. We're not offering somebody $50 to do something. So the same, strengths I hold for our creators to have, like I want the same positive qualities for our brands and like the way they go into it. Like some brands say like, this is what we're looking for. let's run the campaign, boom, boom. And then others say like, well, what do you think? And then obviously different angle.
No, I get that. I honestly believe that if you're not building a personal brand right now, like in this age of AI and everything that is to come, if you're wanting to kill it in business, I feel like you almost need a personal brand.
You do.
Are you seeing a lot more non-influencers come through more often? So maybe like podcasters or even just business owners who maybe don't post their beauty routines but just have thought leadership pieces. Do you see
100%.
a lot more of that?
I don't see enough of it.
Yeah.
I don't see enough of it. I think what you're saying is really important. That's a great category. We have recommended certain people in scenarios where we're saying, hey, maybe this isn't the most obvious and like traditional choice, but since you're targeting Miami, you're targeting New York, targeting a specific niche and a specific city, let's really dive into the people that influence influencers a lot of the time, or have a say that people really look up to them within a specific community.
Yeah.
So I think in those scenarios, like hyper local, like those are the best kind of people to look at.
Yeah. What other trends are you seeing from the influencer side that people should really start to leverage more, whether it's certain types of postings, certain ways they're putting themselves out there? What ways can people really tap into that?
I think it's obvious when you hear an audio that's trending and you see something that a dance or something that's very obvious. It's like, all right, let's jump on the bandwagon because everyone's doing it. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think what makes somebody really go viral and have like a life of its own is when you're the one creating the trend. So not as much focusing on like, how am I going to record this trend? What am I going to do? It's like, how can I create one and not be discouraged when the first time you do, it doesn't take off. But I think that's also a really great way to test your following to see like what they're responding to and whatnot. We see that a lot with music campaigns that we do. Sometimes they'll say, we want this to feel super organic, or then it's like, okay, no, here's the brief, and this is what we want them to do specifically with this audio.
Okay. So you're working with music creators to help their music go viral. I mean,
we work with the labels,
Yeah.
and then the labels work with our influencers to create content around that song or that album or whatever.
It makes sense. I think someone who does that really well, Jason Derulo, I've seen his songs just take off because he knows how to leverage that space. And I feel like whether you're in music, I think obviously beauty and fashion brands do it well. What other kind of brands are you seeing come through or trends from the brand side?
It's interesting. At Super Bowl this year, you know, we saw Alex Earle, who's a big name. She had like 4 Super Bowl commercials. Which is quite interesting to see this shift of like not just The Rock or a big celebrity that everybody would know being in these commercial spots. Like they were betting on the usage of someone's likeness that was on TikTok, that was on Instagram. And I watched people all through Super Bowl get recognized, fans going crazy. So I think this like modern day, like influencer can be a modern day celebrity.
Yes.
And your life can change in an instant. And we've seen it like so many times. So that shift for me is super interesting, and seeing that like you can be in a Super Bowl spot that's valued at X amount of millions of dollars by just being a social media star.
Yeah. What do you think makes people like Alex Earle stand out?
Well, she created the trend, right? So she did the Get Ready With Me. She was this cool girl that went to University of Miami and was likable. Obviously, she's very pretty. She has no fear in front of the camera, and she related to girls. You know, she would do these stories and things that were going on with her and her friends and her relationships. And then from there, just kind of, she's kept that momentum and hasn't really allowed her brand to diminish. She's just kept that going.
Yeah. No, I think it's so interesting just watching and observing, because I'm seeing her just everywhere. All the time.
Yeah.
What do you think makes influencers have a level of longevity? Because I think also some of them can spike out of nowhere, go viral, mega trend, and then the next week, no one remembers.
I think it encompasses like a few things, right? I think you have to be staying relevant, being out of your house. You can't just be like the cool girl, stays home and makes videos all day and doesn't do anything. I think being seen with other you know, great faces that are also doing what you're doing, and then, you know, that crossover of content.
Collaboration.
And collaboration is going to be important. I think seeing them do things within their community and really like giving back or doing something that makes sense. So to Alex Earl's point, like she was adopting and fostering dogs.
Yeah.
So like that hit a relatability factor. Like everybody was excited because, you know, she took dogs and,
Yeah.
you know, and was doing, and then she feeds people and does like a whole meals program. So I think diving into community for relevancy is one of the top things that you could be doing. I also think creating your own brand within your brand.
Yeah.
So if we're saying on the topic with Alex, like she invested and blew up her Sip Marks brand, which was an existing brand that already had been, she didn't just launch that.
Right.
It was a brand that was already on the market. It was a cool brand, but without someone like her, it didn't skyrocket.
Yeah.
So now she's invested in a brand. So now she has something besides her own self to push on content and to be creative with and move.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So it's just so interesting. And I actually think influencers are outperforming celebrity now.
They are.
I don't think celebrities can succeed unless they're becoming an influencer. And it's
true.
almost backwards.
It's true.
But
it is. You
so
know, even
important.
like I had a conversation with a media company and they were like, oh yeah, like, you know, we had 20 million people tuning in. And I'm like, that's like one successful reel if you worked with like the right influencer.
Yeah.
And you put how much time into production to get that 20 million viewership on what you were doing. Like,
it's so true.
if you pick the right person, like that video could have easily gotten 20 million views, or two people getting 10 million views each, and a lot less required from a lift of production and workload for sure.
Yeah. I am a big believer in the bandwagon effect, the psychology behind when everyone is talking about something. Obviously, then it kind of piques your interest. How can brands leverage influencers to make sure that happens? Is it better to go with one key person of influence? Is it better to kind of spread it across all areas? And do they need like $1 million budgets?
You don't need $1 million budgets to be successful in influencer marketing. I think depending on the goal of the brand and what they're trying to accomplish is where we start making like the very strategic recommendations. Like, okay, instead of spending, you know, $10,000 on one person, let's get 10 people and pay each $1,000.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're waving a magic wand. A lot of the time people just assume like, oh, our website's going to explode just because we invested in a few influencers.
Yeah.
A lot of the time people forget that it's the same as anything. Like that power of repetition is something that you can't forget about. So I think having these influencers consistently post is where you'll see the biggest return. Unless it's something that's like a one and done gun, and then, you know, then we maybe just go big and pick one person that's the right fit. So it really just depends. I'm all for both scenarios, and we kind of pick and choose depending on the goals of the campaign.
Now, you mentioned earlier you work with certain larger scale events and help them with their influencer marketing.
Yep.
How can people who are running events leverage influencers, whether it's through Maven or...
Yeah, so I think a lot of the times with events, they come to us on a pre-level.
Yeah.
So maybe they're trying to sell tickets for said event. So they'll say, okay, Jess, we want you, you know, we're going to pay you X amount of dollars. We're going to give you 2 tickets to the event. But leading up to the event for the next 60 days, we want you to do majority of the posting because we're counting on you to help get the word out that this event is even happening and that the tickets are for sale. So a lot of the time we see brands come to us and say, like, we really want to push like a early pre-event campaign. So I think that's one of the most. When they get to the event, look, it's nice. Maybe a lot of the times we strategize and say, oh, we want to take care of our sponsors when they get there. Maybe it's not as important to tag the organizer. Maybe it's more important that the influencers that are going are tagging the brand that helped pay for that event. So that's an interesting strategy. Sometimes we put on them, you know, saying like, oh, is it more valuable that they tag your sponsor or tag you or tag both, whatever that might be. And then guaranteeing those impressions for yourself at the event, because a lot of the time the consumers aren't the one that's going to drive your social media metrics to a level where other brands the next year would be excited about it. So I think it almost gives you the advantage, even if you're building your event, starting small, having a few people there, you're giving yourself a better shot at your sponsors being tagged, being happy, and your event being seen by a lot more people. Instead of the traditional like running ads and selling tickets to something.
Yes. If people were pitching to brand sponsors around whether it's events, whether it's influencing, what tips do you have, and how did you, I guess, even land brand sponsors for model volleyball when you don't necessarily have the brand concept or proof there?
You're talking about early. How did we do it? So one strategy we had was we very much led with media partnerships. So very early, I went to radio stations, magazines, .coms, and said, hey, we'll give you courtside banners and we'll give you signage. You'll be our official media partner. And in exchange, give us X amount of spots on the radio. And then I'd go and include all of those guaranteed media items in my sponsorship packages.
Yeah.
And that was a really great thing then that worked quite well. We never said yes to just product ever. So I think our reputation has always been like we are a premium event. And I think I always tried my best to make sure that if Red Bull spoke to whoever the other sponsor, like that internal conversation wouldn't, crush us for the future. Type of thing. But I think when you believe in what you're building, you have to just get creative. And like, I think another big tip that I would share is if I pitched you at Red Bull and you wrote back saying, hey, Olivia, thanks so much, but no thanks.
Yeah.
Like model volleyball is not a fit for us. Most people stop there.
Yeah.
And they just say, okay, like, thank you so much, like blah, blah, blah. For us, I pushed. And I was like, oh, well, what about it isn't a fit? And what is a fit? So if I knew that they were focused on soccer or they were focused on golf or whatever that was, then I would know that. So when I had something else to share with them, it actually made sense versus just like pitching into like the cloud and hoping for the best that they were going to like everything that I was sharing.
Yeah. I think what a lot of people miss is you've already got that foot in the door. You've already put in that groundwork, and then just to let it all go. And
well, a lot of people don't think that you should go and ask
they
more
don't
questions
be
after
annoying,
you've heard no.
They don't want to push.
I think it's more
upset.
normal that people stop there than not. So it's nice when I hear people say like, oh, well, I asked and they told me it was because we didn't have enough attendees. Okay, that's fair. Then there's not enough attendees for a brand like that.
Yeah. Okay, I want to come back to Mavn.
Okay.
How do you build a tech platform? So I think a lot of people probably have, whether it is the challenges in their own industry, and they're like, oh, I would love to create a tech platform or an app for that. But doing that feels like such a big job. I'm sure it was as well. How do you start that? Because you didn't have a tech background.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't have a tech background. I had a really great first team that did the building with us.
Yeah.
And really the head of that team guided me like a CTO would have versus just somebody that we paid to obviously build the tech for us.
Yeah.
I wanted to learn. I wanted to be a part of it. So I think that's just what I prioritized. And I was a part of it because I said, if I'm doing this, then I got to learn as much as possible, as fast as possible. But even today, I'm learning things. And sometimes I surprise myself. I'm like, I think I could figure that out. No, I can't figure that out. So I think back to the core of the question, it was challenging jumping in with no tech background and figuring it out. But I knew the product that I wanted to build. I had it mapped out. I knew what needed to go into it to actually successfully change what I was doing manually. Yeah. So I relied on me just building those steps, those key features that I knew I couldn't live without.
Yeah.
But it's hard because you think you're done and then, you're like, oh, no, I need to add that. And then people just don't launch. Yeah. So we did launch like an essential like MVP version.
Yeah.
And it's a different product 2 years later than it is now.
Yeah.
Than it was when I started compared to now.
That's kind of anything in business. It's almost like you have to just get it out there, get the real-time feedback, and then you can pivot and adapt and continue to evolve.
Yeah, and with tech, I've realized like nothing's ever done. Like you're consistently building every day, and my roadmap gets pretty extensive, and it's like, all right, like what am I prioritizing that will help me drive revenue? And that's kind of how I've prioritized different features and feedback is like, if I had this, like, would this help us grow? Or is this just like a really great vanity feature that I don't really need right now, but looks cool?
Yeah, for sure. On that, how do you decide what gets your energy? Because you're working with events, you're doing so many different things.
Yeah.
How do you prioritize your time and how do you decide what is the needle moving?
It's something I struggle with every single day.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't have it down. packed. That's for sure. Maven is what I believe will be a strong exit.
Yeah.
For me as a female entrepreneur. That is where I spend majority of my time. Model volleyball, it's thankfully in a place where until, January, I'm not really that stressed about it. So I can manage that accordingly, and it's not a day-to-day effort.
Yeah.
And really the event stuff I've trimmed down quite a bit, and I'm picking and choosing like what we're taking on in a much more specific way.
Yeah.
So my priority right now is, I'd say, like all Maven. Yeah.
What does your team look like?
We're a small team. We're scrappy. We've really bootstrapped the hell out of this thing.
But I love that. I think we're done with the big inefficient teams.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we definitely could use a couple more people.
I think
that'd be great.
Always. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be really great. But we've gotten very far with the amazing team we have now.
Good.
So we have a full-time developer and engineer. He's based in Egypt. Yeah. And he works so hard every day with us because he's the sole person building the product. I have a day-to-day like an admin person that's on the dashboard, talking to our influencers, talking to brands, and kind of coordinating that middle.
Okay, so
form
you have
of communication.
someone still doing customer service through the app.
I mean, there's so many things that we're doing with influencers. Like everything streamlines right from the same home base, which is nice. And then I have full-time graphic designer and animator and video and like that type of person. And then I have like my right hand like project manager that works on all of the businesses with me.
Yeah. What kind of projects are you working on at the moment? Obviously, in addition to continually iterating the tech, what projects are you working on to really scale this?
It's how many frogs can I kiss in a day, right? How many brands would be excited to use this product if they even just knew about it and could explore it and get their hands on it and see it and get that demo. Yeah. So for me, it's connecting with brands that are very excited about creators and influencers and being able to get Maven on their radar. Yeah. For sure. As far as like experiential, we've kind of created some really great signature Maven opportunities. We have a brunch series. We're doing another one next week in LA.
Yeah, how fun.
So we've got like different series of things that we'll do, like dinner parties and brunches and intimate things of that nature. And then we also have a Maven retreat. So we've done 3 thus far, one in the Keys, one in Tulum, and one in Aruba. And that has shown like tremendous user acquisition for Maven. So I haven't had to spend $1 on acquiring any influencers to date.
So
it's all been through our network of influencers referring one another.
How amazing. With the retreats, is it promoting brands while you're there? Is it like a let's do personal development connection team building?
It's a lot of everything. Yeah. So it is an invitation to that influencer to come. We take care of all the costs. We've partnered with homes like Airbnbs, and we've also partnered with hotels. Yeah. So usually we get that taken care of by the host property. So we're not spending on rooms and things like that. And we have supplemented a couple sponsors, like Warner Music Latin came in and helped sponsor financially, but then everybody had to use the song. Yep. So it was a lot more organic than being like, post this bathing suit and have to do this. Like, but sometimes we sprinkle it in when it has to be sprinkled in. Type of thing. But there always will be that component of like, you're going to be here to learn and grow. You're going to get your content because it's beautiful where we are. Like, do your thing. No one's stopping you. Yeah. But like, how are you actually like making the connections with these other influencers is really important. I usually host some workshops on those trips to help say, how are we going to turn you into like an influencer, into like your own CEO?
I love
so we do a lot of educational stuff. So it's a good mix. And then we have a lot of downtime because we don't really want everybody to look at us like we're the brand that didn't let them chill out on a vacation.
Yes.
So
no, you've gotta do that. That's
different buckets of stuff.
So interesting. Actually, before COVID, I used to run influencer trips, and I had basically a whole business because my first business was a fashion label, and so I'd worked with a lot of influencers through that, and I was like, hey, I can't afford $1 million to run a brand trip, so let me create an agency out of it. And I used to do that and have brand partnerships and tourism partnerships and take influencers all over the world. It was quite stressful at the time. So 2020 happened and I paused that. But now I run retreats for female entrepreneurs, which
know
is
that.
really incredible that
Yeah.
you kind of bridge the gap. You've got the workshops, you've
Yeah.
got the experiences and the connection. And I think having the cross promotion between the influencers, the storytelling and the excitement of being on a trip all
Yeah.
just adds so much visibility.
Yeah, and people love to go to new places that they've never been. So, your level of trust obviously has
a
to be
great
there in the
perk
group. But
for
yeah,
being part of
and knowing that you don't have to pay for it, but you
Yeah.
can utilize, your following
Yeah.
to get you to all these new places. It's really exciting.
Yeah, I was speaking to, while I was in New York, I interviewed a really incredible influencer over there. And I think all of them are really wanting to do more travel now that we can.
Yeah.
Whether they're a fashion influencer, whether
course.
they're a business, they all want to do travel. So
Who doesn't
No.
want to be able to travel and for free?
Yeah.
It's amazing. I mean, we're even seeing real user-generated content creators, not even like the ones with millions,
Yeah.
getting great opportunities to travel and create content for hotels, for airlines, all of the above, and then just delivering the content
Yeah.
because they know how to shoot it from the point of view that's going to give them the right content for their ads.
Yeah, I think a lot of hotels get it wrong where they just only do
Yeah.
professional video shoots and people don't understand
No.
how it looks to actually stay there. And I can't even see what the room looks like. All I can see is the model.
Usually we
and-
go right to the reviews anyway.
Yeah.
So being able to have that from a guest experience and it not look like an influencer,
Yeah.
that's the money shot right there.
Done. How do people get involved? If they want to get on Maven, if
Yeah.
they want to be part of it?
So anybody can apply.
Yeah.
We do have a pretty extensive wait list.
Mm-hmm.
And some people get really upset when they don't hear back from us
Oh.
right away. The reason being is I want you to actually get opportunities
Yeah.
on the platform. So as we grow into new markets, as we get new clients, like we open up space for
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
new people. The last thing I want is to have, 100 opportunities on the app and 10,000 users.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, I never get picked for anything. I never get to attend anything. I don't, I've never made money from this thing. This is, crap.
Yeah.
So just saying that ahead of time.
Yeah.
But we do encourage all niches, all, anybody who wants to consider themselves, for the opportunity to apply. They can apply in the App Store, Maven Creators, or they can apply at the Google Play Store if they're an Android user. And then as far as brands, they can reach out directly on our website and book a demo and, be able to see firsthand how the platform is going to change the way that their team works.
With the brand side of things, are you mostly seeking brands who use that as their everyday influencer marketing team?
Yeah.
Or are you mostly getting brands who say, hey, I've got this one-off campaign, let's run it?
It's lovely to have annual business.
Yeah.
So that is obviously something that we seek. But we have plenty of opportunity on a one-off basis, and majority of like SaaS type platforms don't allow for that.
Yeah.
You have to be committed, spend $20,000+ a year. So we do take that, advantage to wherever we can when it comes to like one-offs and events and things. Like maybe you don't need us all year, but you need us for Art Basel when you come to Miami. So, or maybe you're just doing an event in LA and it's a festival and no matter what the scenario is, like we're not hating on you just because it's a one-off.
Yeah. Makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to flip the script a little bit. Love the content on Instagram around basically breaking down event activations. So can we talk about some of the best event activations you've seen and why you feel like they were so successful?
Yeah, that came out of nowhere. I did that on a whim and I was like, oh, people really liked this.
I enjoyed
This was
it.
pretty cool. Yeah. No, I got to do more of that.
Yeah.
Content struggle. We produced a fashion show for Pretty Little Thing a few years ago. The venue was a 360 mapping capability venue.
What does that mean?
So the entire venue we were able to like project on the walls.
Oh, wow.
So we created our own worlds with the projection mapping.
Wow.
So you kind of felt like you were there.
Yeah.
And then we built a runway on water. And I think that was pretty unbelievable. But to take it even a step further, They were so inclusive and diverse with the women
Yeah.
that walked in that show. It was so inspiring. Like the combination of the production being really cool, the water runway being something different that you don't get to see every day.
Yeah.
And then seeing like an array of just like incredibly beautiful, diverse women. One that was in a wheelchair, one that was missing limbs. Like
Wow.
they really just
And they did it on water too.
I did it on water too.
Yeah.
I think that was one of my favorites from a production that I've seen.
How incredible.
Yeah. I mean, you do see the things that people do that are like very expensive and over the top, and like that's really nice. But I think some of the smaller brands, a tip I can say is if you want to participate and like show up at events, but you don't have $100,000 to just drop to keep up with all of these, you know, enterprise level companies that are showing up, to be as intentionally creative as possible. For example, Maven will be at the Create and Cultivate Festival. We're still a startup. We work really well with the festival. We do a ton together. We're, you know, supporting each other on a lot of great things. But I was like, damn, I'm not Chase Bank. Like, how am I going to show up? So we did a very small level production, but we're doing fireside chats. We're doing illustrations from creatives that are coming and doing drawings live for, we're doing live performances. I brought in a liquor sponsor to serve drinks. So I think if you just dive into your contacts and try to figure out ways that your activation can be a little bit more creative and meaningful, it doesn't really matter how big and bold and expensive it needs to be from a production level.
So with that stage, is it going to just be presented by Maven, but then it has so many diverse things? Are you going to be speaking on there?
It's a small little riser. It's like a foot off the ground. There's chairs. We got a great backdrop, but it's no seating. You're just going to be able to watch and, you know, keep it moving. Or if you're interested, you could stay. Hopefully there'll be a nice crowd of people.
I'll be there.
It's perfect. So everything will take place like on this riser. So I'll be doing some of the interviews with some of our great people that we have coming. But I've also opened it up to others to take the stage, not just me, have a great moment for themselves and give them, you know, some great opportunities for content.
Yeah. When you mention leverage your networks and see what opens up, how have you built your network, and how do you kind of ask them when you're building things? There's like this art to it, or the art of relationship building, where people feel the energy when you're just kind of in there and you're like, ask. What tips do you have around building your networks and creating these long-term relationships where you can knock on the door and they're ready to open it?
You're right. There is an art form to it. Coming out the gate, asking for things when it's transactional, sometimes that works. I'm not a hater on it. Yeah, because sometimes, you know, client needs X, you can provide it. Make it happen. It should be that. But I think what's personally gotten me this far, and it's so funny because so many people, when they talk about me, like a lot of the things I hear is like, oh my God, Olivia knows everybody. She knows so many people. She's connected. Like we have so many mutuals. Like it's crazy. You know everyone. It's because I've fully invested in friendships, not just business relationships. So if I make friends with the person at X brand and then she moves on to another company, you know, like we don't want it to just be transactional there. Like, so I think I've done that quite well, where I've managed to make friendships out of the people that work in this space, so that they think of me, whether, you know, they're at the existing brand they met me at, or whenever they have an opportunity to refer me to somebody else, or when they move on, they're trying to find a way to incorporate our company into what they're building.
That's awesome.
So I think, and keeping in touch with somebody, not just only when you need something. You know, saying thank you is, believe it or not, something people just don't do enough. You know, I sent somebody a present before an event the other day. Most people just get things when they're done. But being a little bit more like, wow, like you're working so hard now. Like why only get rewarded when you're done with the project? When you're doing holiday gifts, are you doing something that everyone else is doing and just sending like a basket of shit? Or are you saying, okay, like what's going to land on that person's desk? And what's going to be there year round that I can give them? So I think thoughtfulness and being able to say, will this person actually remember me if I treat them a certain way? And they do.
How do you manage that? So if you know everybody, you must have a long list of people to keep in touch with. How do you manage that?
I think social media is your biggest opportunity to do that, where you don't have to open up multiple different, apps to do that. So it's like if you see somebody posting something and it's a great opportunity to say congratulations.
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity to say, when are you coming to Miami? I want to see you. Like, is there anything that you have going on that I can support you on?
Yeah.
That isn't one way. Like, we're just going to pitch. Can you help me with this? Can you do this? Do you want to sponsor this? Like, what about this? No. I think that like that's something that really resonates with people when they say, wow, like you're not asking me for anything. You just want to know how I'm doing. You just want to know if there's something you can support me on. Well, yeah, okay. And a lot of people, they won't ask. It's just nice to know that you cared to say, are you good?
Yeah.
Do you need something?
I think it's the most underrated, I guess, skill set or trait that people don't think about for some reason. But I think if you switch from the mentality of here's my goal, this is what I need, to actually the other person is a human being with their own goals, with their own challenges. And sometimes people get, and myself, I'm sure we're all guilty of it, we get in our own head of our own shit, what's going on every day,
100%.
what people think. And if we can just remember that people are human beings. The other day I actually asked that question. So the hotel that I was staying at in New York, I said, hey, what can we do to support you? It was a new hotel.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh my gosh. They were so shocked that.
Yeah, because people just come down and probably complain every minute.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh,
they
somebody's
were
nice.
so happy about
talking
that.
to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's bigger than you can imagine. I think that's something I talk about quite a bit is how do you constantly show up for other people and not just when it's convenient for you.
Yeah. What do you do when people say, oh, I don't need anything? How do you continue to provide value if they don't have an ask or you're not sure what they need? You just kind of...
I think that's okay.
Yeah.
I think you just continue supporting each other, and then you'd be surprised. And then the other person might ask you that question right back.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't need anything. I'm good right now. But do you? Like, what's going on with you?
Yeah.
So I don't think there's anything wrong with the person not reciprocating. It's the moral of this is that you are the one that's conscious of helping other people, not just yourself.
Yeah. I think even in that, there's so much nuance, because then people might hear this and think, okay, to get what I need to help people. And I think even then there's this energetic string attached and people feel it. So even with, for example, Create and Cultivate, I just said to Jacqueline, hey, can I share it? Give me some links. And she was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And we sent it out to our entire database. And I was like, I'm coming anyway. I've already purchased I've already paid for my ticket.
Right.
I'm coming, but like, let's get it out there. It's amazing.
But she'll remember that.
Yeah. And we've got people from Australia, a whole posse flying out.
That's amazing.
Which is so fun.
It's going to be worth it.
Yeah, I am sure.
I mean, it's sold out.
Yeah. Well, we're there.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see you next week, or this week actually.
This week, in a few days.
In LA. But thank you for sharing all of your incredible wisdom.
Thank you for having me.
If you're a brand influencer, go and get onto mavn because it is the future.
That's right.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.